everybody, welcome back to... Why do I keep closing my freaking eyes? Recently, I uploaded a A-level results, that should be an A-level results day video, and I got so many lovely comments, so thank you so much. But a video that was quite requested was an in-depth kind of like discussion, you could say, about each one of my A-level choices. So kind of discussing my experience, what I thought of it, revision tips, stuff like that. So I thought that was such a good idea, and I'm going to cover each one of my subjects in this kind of mini series that I'm hopefully going to do. Today I decided to start off with biology because biology is just the subject that I find the hardest, not gonna lie, and I just kind of want to get it out of the way. Without further ado, let's just get on to the video. Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna kind of split this video into sections. So first off, I'm gonna talk about my experience and kind of things that I've realised throughout my AS year of biology. Number one, A-level biology is not easy at all. AS biology is not easy at all. One of the best things that I could say would be, if you're just taking biology for the sake of it, and if you're just taking it because you were good at it at GCSE, seriously kind of consider whether biology is right for you and whether you will, number one, enjoy it, and number two, do well at it. So yeah, the very first thing that I would say is it's hard, and you realise that literally from the get-go. And I'm not like trying to freak you out, and I know that so many people just say like A-levels are harder than GCSE, A-levels are harder than GCSE. The amount of times you hear it, you might just be like, you're kidding me, right? But like, we're not kidding you. It is so much different to GCSE. If you love biology and you want to do it, go for it. Seriously, if you really have like a passion for it and you know that you will revise it because you want to revise it, you will do fine. Because the thing that will be the biggest issue for people who are just taking it for the sake of it is that they're not going to put in the work because they don't care about it, and that is when it doesn't work out. So yeah. Number two is there is so much content. I literally cannot stress this enough. Right, okay, so we were looking at the textbooks and comparing the GCSE ones to the A-level ones, and literally the GCSE textbook is the equivalent of half of the A-level textbook. Therefore, your whole AS course, like 1 year of A-level, is the equivalent to the whole of the GCSE course, which you do over 2 years, or in my case, I did it over 3 years. So it is such a big just slap in the face when you get into sixth form and you start doing biology, because you realise how quickly you are moving through these topics, and it's just like you spend one lesson on a topic and you're just like, oh, already? Really? Are we done? Number three is going to be the questions themselves on the papers are about 20 times harder at A-level, and I don't even know why, because the things that they're kind of asking for are quite like, well, usually they're quite straightforward. It's just the way that they put together the mark schemes is so much harder than GCSE. In GCSE, I feel like it was so easy just to like pick up marks, but at A-level, it's literally so hard because you can write something down and it could be perfectly correct, and you think that it's ticked like all of the boxes, and then you look at the mark scheme and you find out that you actually haven't gained any marks for that question because the mark scheme is just so specific. Number four is going to be that my other A-level subjects have definitely helped me so much with biology, especially chemistry, especially chemistry, because the molecular biology section is obviously quite to do with chemistry. I mean, what else am I going to say? It's molecular biology, because you learn about like hydrogen bonds and covalent bonds and polar molecules, and even just random stuff like water and its properties and cohesive forces and stuff like that, and it's just, it makes it so much easier. And also maths for stuff like statistics, which you will find to be your worst enemy, even if you can do S1. Think about how well you will do without them. I'm not saying like take chemistry because you're taking biology, but if you have like a strong enough GCSE base, then I feel like you're gonna understand it, and like you'll do fine without the A level because you can catch on and you don't actually need chemistry to take biology. But if you just completely do not get chemistry or you completely do not get maths, some sections of biology may be a bit more difficult. For me, it's definitely just been the most time consuming and just the most stressful. I mean, only biology and GCSE physics have made me cry in the past. So it's just been the most academically demanding for me, I'd say. Now I'm going to move on to kind of general advice and how to deal with A-level biology. My number one piece of advice would seriously be keep on top of your work, especially for biology, because there's so much of it. There is so much to remember, and if you don't keep on top of it and you just leave it till the end when you're revising for all your other subjects as well, you are going to find that you really struggle / it's kind of impossible to cover all the content at the end. Do it systematically throughout the year. Make your notes as you go along. Read over your notes and just do practice questions after lessons on that topic. Revise for end of topic tests like you would for the exam, because ultimately that is just going to save you a lot of cramming in the long run, because you will have like a decent base knowledge of all the content by the time it comes to the exam, so then you're just like polishing up on stuff. Some of it will at least sink into your brain, so I mean it won't do you any harm. And with this, it's also important to keep in mind that you have to remember this stuff at the end of year 13, so the more you do this year on the AS content, the less you'll have to do next year. My next piece of advice would be go and find your teacher and ask them for help. It may seem like you're pestering them, but to be honest, that's their job, to help you. So, you know, ask them for help, even if it's like you don't understand a topic and you need them to explain it to you, or you don't understand how to answer a specific question that you've been doing outside of school. Sign yourself up for after school sessions. Make the most out of the people that are available to you, because they've seen so many students and they know that people struggle, and they know that the majority of people struggle, and they're not going to judge you, hopefully, for asking them stupid questions, hopefully. I think it's also important to mention that this requires work on your part as well. Make sure that you put in the effort to be proactive and ask your teachers, but also don't just kind of go to them and be like, oh yeah, I don't get this, when they clearly explained it in class but you just weren't listening. There is no point of going to your teacher every time you need help without actually having tried to help yourself first, because they're just going to get annoyed with you, and then you're going to completely ruin your relationship with your teacher and they are not going to want to help you. This next piece of advice is like key, like crucial. Oh my life. It's basically read over the topic before the lesson. And you may be thinking, why would I do that? It will really help you, and you'll see that it's helping you because number one, you are being exposed to that information double. That makes no sense. But basically, you're going to see it first by yourself, and then you're going to go back over it in class when you actually have the lesson. And the more times you see something, the more likely you are to actually understand it and then remember it. And without understanding it, it's really hard to remember it anyway. Make those notes. So just kind of make quick bullet points before the lesson. This is what our teacher suggested, and it's actually not a bad move. It's just a lot easier because instead of actually writing out your notes in the lesson, you're just adding extra bits that you learn in the lesson to notes that you've already made. So then it's just like a lot less pressure in lessons as well, which is obviously good because in school you're just tired and often you can't be bothered. So yeah, homework is important. I mean, you may think it's pointless, but it's not. Number one, it means that your teacher can see how you're doing. And it also means that if you do it, you keep your teacher happy and then you have a better relationship, so then you can bombard them with questions at the end of the year when you're studying for your exam and they won't get mad at you. It's literally forcing you to consolidate the content that you've learnt in the lesson, and you don't even have to like do it yourself out of your own free will. Like, you are being forced to do it. It's great because it's just more revision and consolidation and you literally cannot do enough of that at A-level in any subject, but especially biology. So if you know that you struggle with remembering to do your homework, just do it on the day you get it set. It's going to save you, number one, a lot of embarrassment, number two, angry teachers, and number three, a lot of hassle. So it's great. This is another big piece of advice, and it is use your freeze wisely. And I sound like a pixie from that like bedtime story, but literally this is so important. I cannot stress this enough. At the start of the year, there is this huge temptation to just kind of chill in your freeze and relax because you have nothing to do and you can just have a chat with your friends. But no, you should not do that. You should literally just use your freeze to work. You are in school, and if you were in the lower years, you would be having lessons at that time. Go to the science study room, go to the library, just don't have a chat. Don't be tempted to waste your freeze. It's just valuable time that you're wasting, and it's time that you're not going to be able to make up at the end of the year. Why, dog? Really? Right now? Thank you so much. This is kind of like a general tip for all your A-levels, but keep your work organised, keep your folder really, really neat and tidy, especially for biology, because it just has so much content that you're going to have so many notes, so much paper, and just if you lose those notes, you are going to want to kill yourself because you're going to just have to write them out again, and it's not going to be fun. And just keep it all nice and tidy, keep all your dividers in your folder for each different chapter, and just save yourself the struggle. And if you have a prettier folder, maybe you'll be more inclined to look in it. So that's just another bonus. The next section of this video is going to be revision tips. So these are just kind of things that you can do to make your revision more effective, kind of tailored to biology, but also just generally. Tip number one would be, if you do not want to write concise notes, and if you don't want to rewrite your notes after the lesson, and if you just revise from your class notes, that was a lot of if and you. But at least make a glossary of vocab that you need to know. Stuff like definitions are relatively easy to learn, and they are sometimes worth like a decent amount of marks in papers. If you already kind of make your notes concise, then just add in those words into your notes and they'll be fine. So yeah, I mean, you can do both, to be honest, if you want to be really extra. But tip number two is going to be, make sure you are not just revising the stuff that you're good at. And there is this like overwhelming urge just to sit there and read over stuff that you already kind of know. But those are just like simple memory things, like can you remember this list of features of DNA? Obviously you still need to revise that. I'm not saying don't. You still need to know it, and once again it's like easy marks if it comes up, but you really need to make sure that you put in the effort to understand the more challenging parts of the syllabus as well, because often those parts are like the main bulk of the exam anyway. So I mean, you're not going to get very far if you don't understand them. While in the short term, it's going to make you feel great about yourself. In the long term, it's really not going to help you, and it's just not. Revision tip number three is going to be practice questions are legit the way to go. If you don't do practice questions, I don't know what to say, to be honest. You need to do them. It's all well and good knowing the biology content, and obviously that is a big part of it, but it's also being able to answer the questions. And trust me when I say you can still majorly screw up the exam even if you know everything, but you just can't quite answer the questions properly. Do not use I'm on the new spec, there are no past papers as an excuse, because that is not an excuse. The old spec past papers are perfectly fine, because to be honest, the content really hasn't changed that much. Teachers might give you extra questions that they find. My biology teacher personally sent us like a big massive bank of questions, and it's like huge. There's like 70 questions per like mini topic. So tip number four is going to be, there are so many revision sources out there, and you just need to find one that works for you. There is the textbook. I'm sure you've also seen the YouTube video adverts that are like, when students speak about A-level biology, ... and then I skip ad because I just don't want to hear that advert anymore. But there's that website. There's also plenty of other websites like BBC Bite Size. Even though it's generally more aimed for GCSE, I still use it. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. There's also Quizlet. You can make flashcards, you can make your own mind maps. There's games like Kahoot, which is pretty fun if you like play it in class or play it with your friends or something. I don't know. But there's also like probably interactive games on the internet that you can find. Oh yeah, match these things up. Like, you're still revising, and the more fun you can make it, I mean, the better. And tip number 5 is going to be quite a personal tip. The way that I have found I revise best for biology is to write out more concise versions of my class notes. I cannot bear revising from my class notes. I just couldn't do it. Often there's stuff all over the place because you're just trying to like follow along with the lesson as well as writing out your notes, and I could not possibly revise from the textbook because the textbook has so many like bits of extra information. Like, they make their paragraphs so long-winded. Realistically, a paragraph this long could literally be summarising like a line of information that you really need, but it's just a big massive paragraph. And when you're looking through the textbook and you see that a topic is like this thick, you're just like, it's much less daunting looking at 3 pages of notes for a topic compared to like 20 from the textbook. We have now arrived at the conclusion of this video. So this is going to kind of be just a summary and just should you take biology. I can't really tell you take biology or don't take biology because I don't know you. For me, I've struggled this year so much and I found it so like depressing almost doing biology and putting so much effort into it just to find that I don't feel like it paid off, kind of. Don't get me wrong, it's not like every other subject is easy and like is a walk in the park, because it's not. Every single A-level is a big step up from GCSE. Every A-level is hard. This is just my personal opinion about biology, and it's the one that I've noticed the most that the effort that I put in doesn't seem to be represented by my mark. But I definitely think if you've got to that point where you started A-level biology and it's like the beginning of the year and you're thinking like, should I drop any of my subjects and switch them? Don't drop it, don't switch it, just keep at it. Give it your absolute best shot. Just put the effort in from the start. Don't change your career choices just because you don't want to take A-level biology because it's hard, because every single A-level is hard. I would say just give it your all and it should hopefully pay off by the end, and this is what I'm trying to keep in mind. I'm just going to go into year 13 and I'm just going to carry on doing what I've done this year in the hopes that I've done enough practice to allow myself to really do well in the exam, because it's another year of practicing questions and learning what they're looking for from you and from your answers, and just don't give up, basically, is what I'd say. On the other hand, if you're contemplating taking A-level biology, seriously, go for it. If you're really passionate about biology and if you need it for your degree, which you want to do it. If you really have that motivation to do well in it, you are going to do well in it. And yes, there are bits of biology which are harder than others, and there are bits which are really bloody dull. Ecology, fish, plants, how freaking insects breathe. Yeah. But there are other parts of biology that are so interesting, like DNA and genetics and the heart, and you study biological molecules and transport in the body, and it's just, there are bits that are really interesting, and there's going to be something that you enjoy, I can guarantee you, because it's so varied. And also the practicals aren't too bad, so you have that to look forward to. Dissecting a rat was really the highlight of my year. Not. And just to finish off this video, I wanted to say that you have got to do what's best for you. You've got to just think about yourself. You cannot let anybody tell you what you can or can't take, or what you will or will not be good at, or what you should take, because you just can't let anyone discourage you from pursuing your dream at the end of the day. And on that deep note, I'm going to end this video here. So I really hope you enjoyed this video, and I really hope you found it helpful, whether you're in year 11 or you're in year 12 currently and you're struggling with biology, because same. So if you enjoyed this video, then be sure to give it a thumbs up, and you can also subscribe to my channel. The button is below this video, and you can also follow my social media, especially Twitter, because I go on that way too often. The handles are down below in the description. So I'm just going to end this video now, and my throat hurts. Okay, bye!